Hello and welcome to our webinar on our new website reseller program. I'm Chad Hill and I have Adam Stetzer and the account management team also here with me.
Hi everybody, this is Adam Stetzer. Glad to join you today. We've got all our AMs here. Say hi.
Hello.
Hi guys. Great to be with you today.
Let's jump right in here. So the first thing is why websites? And this is an amazing stat, and I searched around and it still is as true as ever, but about 50% of small businesses do not have websites. And then on top of that, those that do, you really every couple years need to either relaunch or do a significant overhaul of a website to keep it current with the latest trends. I think this next point is particularly important, and that's that he who is sort of in control of the website or delivering the website to a client really gets their foot in the door, or a gateway is created to other ongoing services. And whether that's some type of ongoing maintenance support contract for the website, or maybe putting fresh content in the form of populating a blog, or maybe more importantly, once the website's launched, saying that now you have a website, what about marketing services to bring traffic to it? And then the final one is that really there's a strong relationship between the person who is responsible for a company's website and that company, because it's very rare, especially in these days, for any company to abandon their website. They see it as a mission-critical function. And so probably with these 4 points, the real reason that we're talking websites is because there's a real business opportunity here for you to expand your services if you're not already delivering websites, or to consider our solution that we're going to be talking about today as a great way to either augment your existing website business, or maybe deliver websites in a new and what we believe more reliable and profitable way.
So you're saying websites are a gateway drug, huh, Chad?
I left gateway up here, but yes, foot in the door, gateway, but they certainly are a very important component, and you need one to get into any other sort of online marketing programs. So let's talk about then what is in our website reseller program. We started with really wanting to give you instant quotes, because we know that when you're out on the street talking to a customer, waiting for days or a week to get a price back can sometimes mean the difference between winning and losing that deal. We wanted to also really get good at gathering requirements. We'll talk about that in a second here, but we wanted to make it very easy because we are in this 3-tiered relationship. You have clients, there's you, the partner of ours, and then we're your back office provider helping you deliver the services. It's more important than ever that we make sure to eliminate those games of telephone that ultimately take one requirement and turn it into something else. So we wanted to focus on that. Of course, you can't build websites if they don't look good, so we wanted to make sure you had a nice selection of good-looking templates, and that we could build very nice-looking websites that deliver all of the calls to action that you need, again, in today's marketplace. We also wanted to give you access to a team of professional copywriters, developers, and website designers to help you make sure that wherever you may be weak personally, if you're a great writer but you're not a great designer, or vice versa, that we could help fill in the needs that you have to make it easy to get the website done. And then finally, we wanted to give you a quick turnaround time. So, of course, the size of the website and a number of other factors go into how long that actually is, but we wanted to give you something that allowed you to, if you gathered the requirements, get to market as quickly as possible. So let's talk about the feedback that we got, or some people may say the complaints, but we got a lot of feedback from people over the last probably 6 to 8 months that we wanted to incorporate into our new website reseller program. The first one that I already mentioned is that it many times took too long to get a quote. Another one was that that again, because we have these different tiers, you wanted more control over the design of the website. So you wanted to be able to show your client something that they could pick from, rather than us, creating a design or picking something for you. You wanted access to our content team for writing content. You wanted access to a designer to help you develop logos. So these are things that we got feedback on. Again, I mentioned this already, but you wanted to know when the website would be done. And so we want to make sure that we communicate all that information in our new process. And then finally, this one kind of goes both ways, but you missed my requirement, or I never told you the requirement, but you should have guessed and you guessed wrong. And we felt that this was probably one of the things we've heard the loudest and the clearest, was that if we're going to make this successful for you, for the client, and for us, we really needed to get crisp about gathering requirements. So then let's talk about our program and what we've actually put together a bit more here, and then we're going to go into how it works. So the first thing is that we standardized on WordPress as our content management system. We've done that for several reasons. One is that it is probably the most ubiquitous at this point in terms of number of smaller businesses using it. There's a wide range of plugins and templates and different solutions out there for all sorts of different problems, and so we liked it, and our development team liked it, so that's what we're going with. In terms of templates, we have a template library that we will be adding to every month, so you'll be able to pick from a library of templates. Each template will have 8 different color palettes or color themes available with it. So even with one template, you get 1 and 8 different varieties there. We wanted to give you, to sort of build on to our current proposal builder and allow you to actually build out your website quote right inside one of our proposals. So it could go out the same way that we've already built in the functionality for online marketing services. We wanted to give you a configurator, and we did give you a configurator so that you can actually tell us and how much work you want us to do in terms of writing content versus what you're going to do in order to hit the price point that you're looking for. So some websites may be delivered for as little as in the $400 range, all the way up to $1,500, again, and more if you have a very large website, but you could actually configure how much work you want us to do. So once that proposal is done, you've shared it with your client, and they're ready to move forward, we wanted to be very good at gathering requirements, because we've found, and I don't think this is any surprise to me or Adam from years of working in IT development, but if requirements aren't gathered correctly up front, it actually takes more time and is more expensive to fix those things down the road. So we realized we needed to get a way of gathering requirements, and we've done that with our project requirements questionnaire online forms that we've built. Of course, we wanted to make sure that when we deliver this website that it actually is tied in and can be tied into the marketing dashboard, because as we said earlier, this is a great opportunity once you deliver the website to actually sell ongoing services, because what we hear time and time again is, so I've got a website, what now? I want customers for my website. Well, okay, here's what you need to go get customers. Hosting and support is also really important. We've actually, on the hosting side, we have a dedicated hosting environment that we're doing very frequent backups in. So it's a very robust and monitored hosting platform. And then even more importantly, we've done I think a really nice job with our support model, because you can use the same proposal builder and requirements gathering applications to actually do ongoing maintenance. So you don't have to worry anymore about, well, gosh, once I launch this website, are you really going to be there for me to make the changes my client needs? We actually have built that into this program, so it's very easy and you're very accountable, or we're very accountable to getting those changes done. And then finally, we wanted to package this whole program up as part of this launch we're doing today and make sure that you had the materials you needed to be able to go out and successfully communicate this new launch to your customers and private label it with your brand and talk about your new website development services. So that includes things like the sell sheet, the proposal tool, an email marketing campaign, autoresponder campaign that we've set up for you, and then also the ability to embed the carousel of themes and templates right in your website so you can actually have a nice little rotating set of templates that are right in your website that you can have people look at.
Chad, there's a lot of interest. The switchboards are lighting up here in the chat window, which is great. Send in your questions. I'm going to hold a lot of them till later slides when you're into some of the technical material. But just to hit a few points here, Chad, on hosting and support and on defining requirements, there's definitely strong interest here in what we've done. Someone typed in that they walked away from over $1 million in revenue a year because the support requirements were too much of a nightmare, too many headaches, they couldn't get requirements right. So it's really very interesting to see these comments, and I think you're going to have a lot to show these folks given what we've developed here.
Great. Okay, so let's jump into the application. I wanted to do that with a client scenario. So here's the scenario. You have an opportunity, a lead that's a pool service company. They focus on they have three main parts of their business. They have a residential maintenance program, they have a commercial maintenance program, and then they actually have a retail store where people can come buy pool supplies. And they want to really promote all three of these services on a new website. Their website today pretty much is a one-pager from a web builder, a GoDaddy, one-page website type of deal. So there's really not a lot of content that we're going to be worried about pulling in. It's pretty much starting from scratch. And in terms of some of the things they want to highlight, they want to talk about the services, the three that I mentioned. They would like to talk about their company history. They've been active in their community, and they sponsor a Little League team or something, and they want to talk about that. They do have this retail location, so they want to make sure that that's promoted and people can get a map to it. And they have they also have a lot of leads from people who want them to come clean their pool every week, or companies or hotels that want to come have a commercial contract to have a pool cleaned, and they want to get their phone number out. So these are just some of the things they want to highlight. They've also, they're sold on the idea of inbound marketing and SEO, so they are not sure if they're going to do it yet or they're going to have you do it, but they want to blog on pool maintenance tips. And on those pages that we're talking about, residential and commercial, they have some pictures that they would like to promote of different renovations and projects they've done that they want to show people that, hey, we can get our hands dirty and really do work here. So with that being said, I'm going to now flip over, and the only thing that may be a little odd is that I'm going to actually pull up the VetHubs reseller account. So I guess VetHubs decided to diversify into pool maintenance companies here. Okay, so I'm on the admin tab. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to punch in the name of this company because I need to create an account so I can get a proposal out. So I'm just going to call this the Pool Pros 4 because I've already done some tests. And I'm going to actually go to the account first. I do want to go ahead and put a user in here. So this is going to be Bill Jones. And I'm going to do bjones@gmail2.com. Just make a note of that. Okay, and my password for that is return 1. And the reason I'm making a note of this is because, again, I'm going to be building a proposal. I want to actually send it to my client, and when I send it to him with the link that we're going to get from the proposal tool, I'll need to also send along the password at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and add this account. It's building the security group here. Okay, so now I'm on the new account that I just created, and I'm going to check, look at the campaigns here because we create proposals at the campaign level. So I see that it automatically created a campaign based on the account name, Pool Pros 4, so that's fine. Go in there. Okay, and then I'm now in the campaign, and I'm going to create a website proposal. So this is Pool Pro 4 website. I go ahead and add the proposal in there. Great. So now I'm just to give everyone some background here. This is not new. This is all what it currently exists in the system. But I've created an account, and when you create an account, we automatically created a proposal. And then I went in. I'm sorry, a campaign. I went into that campaign, and I'm adding a proposal to it. I'm calling that proposal Pool Pro 4 website. Now I need to pick a service plan to add to this proposal. So we have a new service plan at the bottom here called Website Design New Template Based. So that's Service Plan 910. I'm going to add that in here. And I'm going to click View Proposal. Okay, so this should all look familiar again for most of you, and if it doesn't, we have some other webinars we've done on the proposal tool. You'll see here that we have the Web Design tab, which I'm going to click. And the new thing that we've built in here is that you used to be able to edit all the content by clicking Edit Section. You'll see here, similar to what we have in the SEO tab, another area called Configure Website Features. So I'm going to click Configure Website Features. Okay, and now we are in essentially the website proposal builder. So the first thing that we're starting with at the top is a website project name. I'm just going to leave it New Website. And this is where then you pick your template. So you can see here that we've got 4 templates loaded today. We'll actually be launching a few more in the next few days here. But you can look through any of these 4 templates, 12, 10, okay? And if you wanted to look further at these, you can actually click on the thumbnail to the right, and it's going to pop open a new tab. And then you can click through and look at this website. Now the other thing you'll notice here on this website and any of the templates that you click through on is you have the ability also to select and look at different colors. So let's just say that, in this particular case, it's a pool service company. They're looking for some different blue options. So let's just see what blue options we have. We have pink and blue. That's probably not quite them. But let's check out light blue and green. That might be a good one. All right, let's just say we like this. I want to take note of that. That's actually color 7. You can see here in the drop-down. So we might want to keep that in mind. But you can also toggle through and look at the other themes as well. So let's look at, this is another one, 1211. All right, so I'm going to say that I liked that one, that 1210 theme, and I did like the, let's see, let me just double check again to make sure I got my colors right, but I like this color 7 option. I'm going to pick that in the drop-down. And at this point, I've actually picked the template that I would like, and I've also picked the color I would like. Now, the next part of this screen gets into what pages do you want on the website. And by default, we're setting this up with a home page, an about, a services, a blog, and a contact. And the reason we've done that is we just sort of looked at what are the core, what are the most important pages on a website, and these 5 pretty much surface no matter what website you look at. There's always a few extra ones here. Someone might rename a couple here or there, but this is a good group that we want to start with. Okay, so let's go back to my requirements and just see how I'm doing here. Let's see, I've got the theme picked. Now, let's look at some of the highlights. They want to highlight different things here. They want to highlight the services. So it just so happens that I do have my page called Services here, but if I wanted to name that page Products, I could do that. Wouldn't be a problem. I'll leave that Services, though. They want to talk about their company, so they have an About Us page. I should mention, you might have just seen that as I click out of each field, it automatically saves, so you don't have to worry about updating as you're making changes every time you leave a field. It saves it. They do want a blog. They want a contact. Let's just say, though, that let's play around with the idea they wanted another page, and they were going to call this page, let's just call it locations. They have 5 retail locations. Now, the type field here, you have 3 choices. It's either home, blog, or other. Home, you only get one home, and there's already one that's built in here, so that's actually been disabled. And then you have the choice of either adding a blog type page or other. So other is your standard page in WordPress, and that's what I want here. Content creator, I can pick who I want to write the content. So say I'm going to leave it, I'll make it HubShout this time. And then the layout is another thing that we should talk about. Each page you'll see down here in this section has a layout selected. Okay, so let's take a look at what is in the body and what's in the layout. I'm going to go back to my template here, and I'm going to click on Services. Okay, so you'll see that the main body of this page is this whole section here to the left. So in this body area, I have a title that says Services, and then I have 2 images, one of a group here and then one of a mechanic-looking person, and then I have some text. So that's what we would consider to be the body of the Services page. Now, the layout of the Services page actually is then what sidebars, either or top or bottom bars, are on this page. So this one actually has we've labeled it sidebar right 1, a sidebar right 2, and a sidebar right 3. Okay. Now, this is a pretty simple layout. This is actually called you can go under layout options to actually see what the different layout options are. Okay. So this is actually considered a right 100. So I'm going to click right 100, and you'll see here that it looks just like the one I just was on. It's got a body area here to the left, and it has the 3 sidebars, right 1, right 2, and right 3. Let's just say, though, that these guys really also wanted to have something at the top to promote their retail specials. So I might start looking through these different sidebar layout options, and you can look at different options here. So I picked right 1, and you can see here that it looks pretty much the same as what we were on a minute ago. The only difference now is that I have this top 1 widget location. So you have the ability to get pretty crazy. I mean, you can go, let's look at right 8. You'll see this gets crazy pretty fast. So, this might be for somebody who wanted to promote maybe 4 services on every single page or on certain pages of their website. So you can, again, get pretty elaborate with these layouts. But the way that you tell us that you want to use one of these layouts is back on the proposal. So what this is telling us is that on the About page, I'm going to use right 100. So let's just say I forget, I don't remember what right 100 looks like. I can go back over here. So first of all, I can always click on the thumbnail, but I can go back over to our sample, go to Layout Options, go back to right 100, and then now I remember, okay, yep, this is the simple one. It has the body copy on the left, and then it has the 1, 2, 3 sidebars, and I'm already thinking in my head, gosh, I want to have a form that they can put in a contact request. I do want to maybe use a little map widget in here because I'm thinking I want to have a map to my store at all times. And then my third option is going to be maybe promotes my recent post on my blog because I really want to get into blogging, and so I want to make sure that I promote my blog, and so I'll use that other sidebar option there. So in your head, you're starting to kind of think about what content do you want to promote throughout the site.
Chad, I'd like to interrupt you with a question, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
It's a good one, very pertinent to where you are, and it's something that we discussed a great deal in the last 6 months in our product development cycle because we've wrestled through these exact questions. Someone wrote in, what if we don't know at the proposal stage what template or layout the client will want?
Right. Yeah, so there's some stuff that you can define later, but you kind of do have to sit down with the client at this point and start to gather some information, because it's impossible to give a price for a website if we don't know what they want. So part of your consultation with the client is either, I will say sometimes we've had clients say, I just want to recreate my website and add these 3 things. Those are somewhat easy because you can kind of start with where they are and add 2 or 3 things. But when you're starting from scratch, you do have to sort of get down and discuss what they want.
I think the only thing I might add to that is you could make a couple different proposals, one more complex, one simple if you really didn't know, and present to them a couple different prices. Say, here's option A, here's option B, here's option C. Another question that came in was, will we have the ability to add pages later after you've built the first version of the website?
Yes. So and we'll get into that. That's part of the maintenance side of things. So again, it would be relatively easy to come in later and say, well, it turns out they did want the page on, I can't remember what was it, locations. I haven't quite out of that yet, but they did want a locations page. So if you wanted to add that in later, you could come back in, build a new proposal. It's obviously not going to be this complicated because you're really only talking about adding 1 page, and then get a price for that and move forward.
And related here, Chad, while I have questions going here, can the client see the different options for these page layouts?
You could definitely take the client to these. In fact, I'll show you, just since we're on that topic here, we're actually going to make this available to all of you. You'll notice on our website we have a new little promotional area here talking about our website reseller program. So if you click through to that, you'll see here that, as this comes up, that this carousel that we've embedded on our page, we've actually made it an iframe, and we've put it on a website called semhosting.net. And what that allows you to do is that allows you to actually embed all of these websites, or these website thumbnails, right on your website, and then you can have your client click through and see the theme. So you'll see here that I can just click through and look at these different website options.
And Chad, all of these questions sort of beg the bigger conversation of how to do a good website proposal. It is a consultative process. So if you've got a client who's like, yeah, quote me a website, but won't give you the time to sit down and tell you a little bit about what they want, you should resist that. And you should say, I need 20 minutes to show you a few of these templates and show you these different layout options. That's a great question. Can the client see the layouts? And we've constructed this, as Chad has just shown you, specifically so not only can they see them, but we encourage you as a walking tour to take them into the different layouts and really think about how they want their page to look. Again, that's 100% white label. There's no mention of HubShout anywhere on there. That tool set is specifically for you to get them thinking about this even before you put a price on the table. Because again, websites are different than some of the other marketing products we spend a lot of time talking about in our webinars. They're highly, highly complex. So you really do want to try to corner them a little bit on their expectations so that you can have a successful project, or if they're real loosey-goosey, try to nail them down to something small, and then as one person suggested in their question, add more pages later.
Right. So let's go back, and we were talking about these different layouts. So again, I was mentioning what would I do if I wanted to add a page called locations in. I would want to go ahead and keep this consistent and have it use the right 100 layout. Now, as I add this, I just want everyone to notice that the current price on this website is $523. When I add this new website, or this new page, you'll see that that updates. So you'll see that goes up to $731. Okay. Now, you might say, well, gosh, that's an expensive page. It is, and the reason it's expensive is because it actually has us writing all of the content. So if you say, well, gosh, that's more than I want to spend, I'll write the content. So I go under Content Creator, and instead of saying HubShout, say Reseller or Client. I can click that, and you'll see that that price now drops down to $69. Now, if you're like, well, okay, I want to look a little closer at that. What's in that page? You can click into the edit for that page. It's loading here. And you'll see here that what the price is for these different components. So, for us to do some basic SEO tagging, a title that's $9 with you providing the information. For us to take your text and put it on the page, it's $10. For us to have one of our designers take an image that you select and just style it some, that's $35. So then you have the ability to change this however you want. So let's just say, for example, that you're okay. You actually don't need for us to. You want us to do the whole graphic. So let's just remove this image styled. And you can see here that when I pick this drop down of page level website features, you can see here that there's two prices. There's the price if you or the client pick it, and then there's a price if we do the work. So that's the difference between the 35 and the 45. And you'll see, for example, in that text 300, if you're giving us the content and we're just having one of our team members put that content on the page, that's $10. If you want that to actually first go to one of our writers and them to write something and get your feedback and then incorporate changes and then go to one of our guys and get on the page, that, of course, is a lot more time and effort. That goes up to $119. And so basically you have the ability to sort of like dial this up or down depending on how much help you need or what price point you want. And we know out there are some of our partners that are like, look, I'm a good writer and I want to do the writing and I want to save that money. And there's other people that are like, I'm really busy, I'm good at sales, but I'm horrible at writing. You do the writing. That option is here for you as well. So let's go back.
We've got tons and tons of questions coming in the chat window. That's what I keep up with. So I try to hit some of the big ones. Are you showing retail prices or reseller prices on this page?
These are all reseller prices.
Okay, great. So to emphasize that point, folks, what you're seeing is the part of the pricing app that's just for you. You obviously would not let an end client see this, which I will show you later is then where the client starts to get engaged. A second one that came in here was, does HubShout have stock photographs for use on client websites?
Yes, you have access to our full, is it Adam, what would we cite it as, 4 million, is that right?
No, it's up to 21 million in the library.
21 million. I missed it. I got a couple factors off on that. Yeah, we have access to our photo library, which we'll demonstrate in a minute how you can actually go in and search and find pictures that you want to use on your website.
Yeah, there's tremendous interest in that. Someone wrote, can the reseller add the content image title tags instead of HubShout? And Chad just hit that. I want to emphasize that this is very flexible. As you see, Chad was choosing the accountable party, whether it was HubShout, whether it was you, or actually whether it was the client. And that was not only changing the price, but then assigning who's going to actually write that content. So as Chad said, and I'll reemphasize it, you can really use us in this program in a very flexible fashion. We can just be the IT shop where you just send over things and we chop it up, cut and paste it, put it into WordPress, where you do a majority of the work, and that is a much cheaper deliverable. Or if you really need help on the copy and image selection and graphics, you can use us as a full-service website production house. So we're quite excited because there's a lot of flexibility. That makes this interface a little more complex, but we think it'll suit the various capabilities you have for the folks on this call.
Great. So let me go back to my requirements and be a little sensitive to time here. I know we have this is a big program and we don't have a lot of time, so we'll definitely be revisiting this over the next several webinars. But let me go ahead and remove that because I don't want the locations now. But let's go back to my requirements. I did say that I want a gallery on my commercial. I wanted a gallery of my commercial and residential renovations. So let me go to my services page here. And let's look at what's on this right now. Okay, so what we have right now on here is we've got a base setup, which again is sort of the way you give HubShout some basic information about the project. So that needs to stay. Navigation location top and navigation location footer. Well, let's just say you didn't know what that was. Let me just show you a trick here. You have the ability over on the left-hand side to go into help and watch a little video that we've recorded. So let's just take a look at, for example, you probably won't be able to hear this one, but I'll just pop this up and you can see how it works. So every one of the website features that's available here has a little video that'll tell you what it's all about, so that you understand what it does and can I remove it or what is this for. We've got those questions answered here. So again, feel free to watch these videos as you're looking at these different website features. But I know that in this particular case, I do want to have some text on the page. I do want an image. Now, an image styled, again, you can watch the video, but it's a little more expensive because you're picking and giving us an image. In this case, the reseller is giving us the image or picking it from the library, and then we're having our designer style it. So what they're doing is they're most likely going to put a nice gradient around the image so you don't get that blocky effect on or squared edge effect on the page. So it's a little more expensive. But in this case, I don't care. I want just a regular little old image here, and I do want to pick it. So I'm going to pick reseller, and I meaning it's the reseller in this case. So I'm adding that in. That saves me a few dollars. But I do need the gallery because I said I wanted a gallery here. And if you watch the gallery image or gallery video, what it'll tell you is that in addition to picking a gallery, you also need to pick an image. For each image you want to have us load, you need to add another website feature. So I'm going to have HubShout load 2 images into the gallery to start. Or let's just say 3. So let's add 3 here. Okay. So I've got my 3 images. I've got my gallery. I've got my image that's going to be in the body copy area. And then I have a text 300, which is roughly 300 words of text. And that looks right. It's $114 for that page. Okay, I'm going to check my requirements real quick here. Let's go down. I do have a blog. That's good. I have my gallery added to the services page. Great. Now, let's go in. You see here that I picked Right 100, which you will recall is this layout. It's the body copy on the left, and then it's the 3 sidebar widgets on the right. Now, let's go in and look a little closer at that because I need to tell HubShout what kinds of things I want. I don't have to specify the exact text yet, but I need to talk about what functionality I want in those sidebars. So let's go look at that part now. So I'm going to go into the layout. Okay, and by default, we knew you had 3 widgets, and our best practice recommendation is make sure you get a form in there. Ideally, if you're using Twitter, put a Twitter feed in there, and then maybe some other sort of promotional graphic, what we call text or image, sorry, text, 30 characters or words of text in a little widget on the sidebar. Those are some best practices. But I already mentioned that I was interested in this case in doing my recent posts because I'm going to be doing this blogging. I do want the form, and in my particular case, I want the map because I want to be able to have people see my where my retail store is. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the text 30. I'm going to take out the Twitter feed. Now, notice over here we have a little warning that says, "Hey, you have space for 3 widgets. You need to add 2 more because you only have 1 right now." So we're doing a little checking to make sure you've got complete requirements or at least a complete proposal. So I know that I want a few other things. I'm going to add a map in. In this case, really what you're providing is just the address of the location. And I also wanted to add in my recent posts. So here's recent posts. Again, if you're confused about what recent posts are, you can click over here to the help videos and listen to every feature you can add to a website page, or in this case, the layout. I'm going to add that. Okay, so I'm happy now with this. I've got my form, I've got my map, and I've got recent posts. Going back. Now, we haven't talked about the home page, which is probably the most important page, so let's spend a minute there. Now, the home page is different because one of the things that, we've given you a lot of flexibility on the individual pages to configure them in different ways. Do you want text on this page? Do you want images? Do you want galleries? So we've given you a lot of flexibility in defining that. The home page, we're intentionally not giving you as much flexibility because usually when people are picking a website template, they're sort of looking at the home page saying, I like the way that homepage looks. And so they're usually fairly complicated. I mean, you can see here that the layout of the interior page here is fairly simple, but if you go back to the homepage, it gets more complicated. It's got sliders, it's got little modules here, it's got a Twitter feed on it, it's got some, it does have a space for some body copy, and it actually has a gallery at the bottom. So I'm going to go in and look at this homepage website features here and talk about this for a minute. So again, we've got our base setup. This is a place just to give us some basic information. The homepage also holds like some website-wide features that we need to know about. So we need to know what the domain name is for the website. We need to know if you want a phone number in the header. This is, again, a pretty important call to action to have the phone number very easily visible in the header. So we need to know what phone number you want to put up there. You'll also notice that we have these social media icons. So we need to know, again, all of the information. This is, again, the feature, so we are going to include the website, the header badge for Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. You're going to tell us the exact link to that when we get into the requirements document. Google Analytics, if you want to have, again, want us to install that, we need to know, get some information from you on what's the profile ID and whatnot. If you want us to set up phone tracking, we can do that. So a lot of these things we've added in here. If you decided you didn't want them, you can take them out. But again, these are sort of what we believe are the best practices for a website. So we wouldn't recommend drastically gutting this because you're going to end up with a less than, well, a less than perfect website. So that's not good. All right, and then the one thing I wanted to mention here is now we're into the sliders. So the home page is the only page that has sliders on it. And sliders are these transitional graphics and text that usually highlight your main services. So back in this case of this pool service company, I want to make sure I have, in this case, there's 3 sliders on this website. I'm definitely going to want one on residential maintenance, one on commercial maintenance, and one that promotes that we have a store you can come to and buy stuff. Okay, so I want, back in my proposal, I see that, yep, I've got an image and text for all 3 of those sliders. That's what I want. I do want a text body area at the bottom. I want the Twitter feed, and I'm going to provide a logo. So that's how you get to this price here. Okay. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty good that I've met the client's requirements. I'm looking at this price, $616. You know, I knew that I was working off a retail price around $1,500. I'm feeling that, you know, I've got some maybe even $1,900. I've got some good markup in there for me, and I feel like the requirements, who's doing what, I've got that right. So I'm now going to go back. This is now taking me out of the website configuration area, and I'm back on the proposal, and then I'm going to go to proposal settings, and this is where I can set my markup. So the cost is $616. I'm going to go ahead and make this $1,500. Okay. Now I'm ready to send this to my client. So I'm going to, or you know, let's just even make this $1,800. I'm ready to now send this to my client. So I'm going to move the status from draft to active. It's going to say, hey, you can't undo this, just like the SEO proposals. And I now have a link to the proposal. So I would then email this link along with the username and password that I created at the very beginning to my client. And they'd be able to log in and be able to see the proposal. Now, let's just say they come back and they say, looks great, let's move forward with this, what's next? You want to move the proposal status from active to 1. So I'm now moving out of the proposal land, and I'm now ready to start filling in that PRQ. I'm going to move over to the 1 status. And you'll see that the main difference here now is that I have this big link here that says it's linking to the project requirements questionnaire. So I'm going to click into that. And now, basically, every one of those pages that we defined in the proposal is now a tab here. And this is where we need to gather all the information for the website. Okay, so let's just take a look through this for a second. So obviously the About Us page is fairly straightforward because there wasn't a lot on that. There was, do I want this in the top navigation? Yes. In main menu. Do I want it in the footer? No, I just want, like, I don't really want that in the footer. Base setup, no, only header. Base setup I'll skip for now. Now let's take a look at this program. Now remember, this is saying what this is you picking an image and then our graphic designer actually styling it to make it look nice on this page. So there's two choices. My guess is that we're talking here the About Us page. Most likely you would probably be uploading a picture of the team, right? So like they've got a picture of them in front of their truck or something, and you're going to be uploading that here. But let's show you, let's pretend here that you don't have that, and you just want to show a picture of a pool or something. So there's two options. This the left option here is to upload an image that you have, and the right one is to pick from our library. So let's click Search for an image. And I have the ability, let's just type in pool. So these are all of the options that are coming back here. I'm looking. I like the Caribbean pool beach scene here. That looks good and relaxing, so I'm going to click that one. And then basically that's now imported into the requirements doc here, so that when this is signed off and run through the requirements system, or when we start working on it, our team would be able to take that image and style it to make it work on the page. Okay, so you can see here there's a lot of requirements, and Adam, my guess is someone's going to say, gosh, that's a lot of information to collect before I've even, before the website project has started. And as we said early on,
that's a good one, Jack. Someone actually typed in, well, is there a basic list I could use to ask what the requirements are to get them started? And I'm busy typing in the chat window. You're looking at it. This is the basic list.
Yeah. And this list, again, it's all auto-save. So, this is a lot of information, and it's probably not something that you're going to complete in one, maybe you complete it in one sitting, but you might need to actually go and gather some information or even sit down with the client. You'll notice here that in this particular view, you can share this view with the client, and they can actually fill in information as well. So we've made it so that there isn't pricing here. You'll notice over here on the right that it's contextually going to be contextually sensitive to whether or not who's writing the content. So for example, if and I don't think actually in this example I have one here, but if, for example, we said we were going to write the text for your slider text 30, it would say here, rather than select an exact text, it would say, please give us a couple bullets to use for writing that text. So that's, this thing will be contextual to what you've picked as who the content creator is. So you can fill this out, and actually we also have a requirements checker. So you can say if you think you're ready to go, you click Quality Assurance Review, and the system comes back and says, hey, actually you're missing some stuff, and in fact, I think in a second here, it's running through the whole document. It comes back and says, actually there's 43 incomplete requirements. So you would then need to go through and fill in all of those requirements.
And Chad, can we just hit that point one more time? I know there's a mixed audience on the phone. Some have a lot of experience with requirements gathering, and they're typing in the window here. Of course you have to do this stuff up front. There's no other way to make money. But there are other folks who are not as formal or haven't been as formal with their requirements gathering process. And again, they're looking at that number saying, geez, 43 fields I have to fill in. That seems like you're making this harder. And I just wanted to hear your response one more time on that.
Yeah, so I think that really gathering it up front is the only way to really make it work in the long run, because once you get a team involved and actually the rework required and the dialogue required to identify the incomplete requirements actually is much greater than just taking the time up front to gather the requirements. And I think we've all, well, if maybe not everyone, but certainly enough of us on this call have experienced the website projects that take 6 months to get a website out because the client never gives you the requirements. And so you're sitting around waiting to collect your money or to launch the website because the client never defined the requirements. So what we're trying to do is just bring that to ahead here on this process. We're like,
yeah,
development can't start until
we're laughing in the room because someone actually said try 2 years, not 6 months to get the website. But so yeah, I just want to stress that point one more time. It looks like it's more work. I understand that to the uninitiated, but really, and a lot of the folks listening today agree with this, but I'm sure there's some who don't. It is not more work. We're pulling forward work you're going to do anyway, but by doing it more forward in the project, for the overall project, it's actually less work. So it may look like more work, but you have to trust our collective experience on this. Another point Carissa, one of our account managers, made to me in the room here is that this tool is meant to be used with you and the client. This is a client-facing screen. This is meant to guide your consultation with them. So again, if it looks like a lot of work, you need to sit down and talk to that client and guide them through this. Our experience has been when you do that, they're very impressed with how structured this is. And they get a lot of confidence in that, oh, wow, you're really going to hit the target for me because you're highly organized, you have this consultative process, you're taking me through these questions where I need to pick an image, it shows me to pick an image. So this tool is meant to be used between you and your end client.
Right. So let's take a look. I'm going to see if I can. Let's see here. So we're pretty light on time actually, and what I want to do is I do want to get to a few other things. But if you fill in these requirements, like I said, you're going to then basically be able to. Let's just run this real quick here. You'll be able to run your quality assurance review, and if you've answered all the questions, there will be a button that pops up that says sign off on the PRQ. So I'm going to go back and talk a little bit about the process now in my deck, and then we got a few more things to cover here. Okay, so PRQ. We've already mentioned that you've got to gather the requirements before the work can begin. You or the client can complete, so we don't mention disclose pricing here or anything else, so it is meant to be client-facing, as Carissa mentioned. Pricing is locked down. So if you do at this point decide that you want a new page, remember you've already told the client what it's going to cost, and so we've locked down the pricing at this point. You really have two proposals. As Adam mentioned earlier, you can go back and have the more elaborate proposal that adds the extra bells and whistles in, or you can say, we can always add pages later. We're trying to get the core website launched. That's what's in this proposal. If you later on want to add that locations page, it's a relatively straightforward change. And then I mentioned the check requirements and sign off. So let's take a second and just talk about who's signing off for what and what does it mean. When you sign off on that PRQ, one of two things can happen. If you're the end client can sign off on the PRQ, but not the SOW. So the SOW is the statement of work. That's our contractual relationship with you, where in the master project agreement it said, we can't do any work unless you authorize us to do it via an SOW. So of course the end client can't sign an SOW that obligates you to have us start doing work. So they can sign off on the PRQ or you can sign off on it. If it's you that signs off on the PRQ, the next screen that pops up is, do you also want to sign off on the SOW? And then in that case, basically it's telling you two things. It's telling you the price, so your client's the wholesale price, and it's saying that you're going to, upon acceptance of this PRQ, we will bill you for one half, and then the other half will be billed at the completion of the project. So once those two things happen, our team reviews the PRQ, because we need to look at all those answers. Did you put, and I have an example here, one where I just put gibberish in, and you can see here that actually the PRQ was bounced back to me saying that, hey, there's actually some requirements that aren't clear. We need you to clarify those before we can actually begin work. So in this case, the screenshot at the bottom here is showing an example of during the PRQ review, we identified a requirement that wasn't complete, and we sent that back to you for you to clarify, and then you would need to then essentially re-sign off on the PRQ. We review it again, just the ones that that didn't previously pass, and then we get into development. Once the PRQ is accepted, what we do is actually back up. So when you sign off on the PRQ and the SOW, we'll by the end of the next business day get back to you, and if the PRQ is accepted, we'll give you a date of when this will be developed. So in a normal scenario, assuming you don't get it, you've got all your requirements right, you will have the date for when it'll be worked on by the end of the next business day. And then, that date will depend on scheduling and a number of other factors, how big the website is, but that's, and I should also say whether or not you have us writing requirements, but that's how the process will work. Okay, so I've got a flow chart here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today, but just wanted to let you know that this is kind of all of the team has been trained on the way this process works. And again, there's exceptions in here and whatnot, so you get some extra boxes and arrows. But the normal flow is build your proposal, get your client to sign off on the proposal, basically saying like, yes, I want to move forward, fill in the PRQ, sign off on the PRQ, sign off on the SOW, we approve the PRQ, bill you half, build it, there's some QA testing, user acceptance testing, assuming everything's ready to launch, you sign off on a form saying this website's done, and then we build the other half and launch. So that's sort of your normal flow. Okay, so the last thing, and probably I think one of the coolest things here, is that this same process that we just walked through is also going to be used for website support. And we're definitely going to take this one to the next webinar and talk more about website support and hosting. But I did want to let you know that the idea is that all those, for example, we had in there that you could add a new text box for $10 or make a change to a page for $10 or a change to a text area for $10. There might be a slight admin fee to get in and open the code up, but our goal is to be able to, if you need to make a small web change, you can have us do it. And then again, this is built on WordPress, so if you're familiar with WordPress, you can always log in and do it yourself. So in terms of some of the things that we've built, we're going to be sending out to everyone after the webinar a white paper we wrote on comparing different ways of building websites. This is really meant for you to understand the business case behind this and some of the different options and why we think our approach is a good choice. So you begin this today. It's really focused more on you. I mentioned already that, and I just put the iframe code in here. We'll publish out exactly what the specs are, but with this simple little snippet of HTML, this iframe source here, we were able to get that rotating list of or pictures of websites. So we hope that that'll make it easier for you to get them on your website as well, with just simply putting this code in here. And the cool thing is that when we add a new one, it's going to automatically update your carousel so that your theme library or template library will be growing as ours does. We also have a sell sheet that's loaded on our internal wiki. Your account managers will be able to get that for you now, or as soon as we get off the call here. We've also created a series of 5 autoresponder meant to go out to your customers. So for those of you who aren't familiar with our reseller email template library, you can go into your private label portal, go to your email account, and under the templates area, you have the ability to click admin templates, and you'll now see that there's 5 admin templates in there that talk about websites. So the idea would be that if you've got an email list out there, go set up campaigns and start sending your email list these 5 autoresponder emails as a way to generate some initial business. Okay, so we're at 4 o'clock without a lot of time for questions. In fact, no time for questions. But here's the deal. For promotion for today, we are basically going to give away, we're going to give hosting for $1 a month, which we're normally going to be charging $19.99 for the first 6 months. So anyone who gets a PRQ approved, so that means you need to build your proposal, gather requirements, and then actually have us accept it as approved, by the end of March, you will be eligible to get the 6 months of web hosting for $1 a month, so $6 total. So it's a $113 value, and you know, we want to just let you guys know that we're really excited about this program, and we probably have a minute or two for some questions since we covered a lot of ground. So Adam, do we have any questions from anybody today?
I've answered probably 200 questions. I don't think I've ever typed faster in a webinar, so we're going to punt those down. I just want to say I'm really glad everyone's excited, and if I didn't hit your question, we'll make sure the account managers are briefed. We'll move them to the forum, but there literally were many, many questions, so thanks everybody for your excitement today.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And again, we're going to be, this is just the first day. We're going to be covering this in future webinars, and again, all of your account managers have been trained on this, so if you do have questions, please ask them. And we're really excited, and thanks again for joining us. See ya.
Thanks, everybody. See ya.